Melody here. You might know me as ApplePie Movement. In today's interview with Mindy Dawn, we discuss how she has become a visual activist for the LGBTQ community, fighting for equity in the state of Georgia. So grab a piece of pie. Come on, join our conversation.
It's just weird how some people can look at other people and not see us as people. Do you think passing additional laws and legislation, such as the Victims for Lynching Act of 2018 and making lynching a federal crime, do you think things like this will help to legalize the humanity and help for even our community to be seen more as human beings?
I think it is the bare minimum that we are deserved. It's the bare minimum that we are we as humans are deserve, unquestionably. But it absolutely takes the strength of allies who have not felt as passionate to stand up and to speak up when the people with whom they claim to be allies for, if they're not standing up when we are not in the room, they're not allies. To call yourself an ally, it means that somebody is talking terrible about undocumented immigrants, or they're saying something horrible about somebody who is who's African American or Mexican or who is trans to my face. If I say nothing, that's me saying that's okay. And so as an ally, the only time I think that there is an exception is if your physical safety is at risk. But there's never a wrong time to stand up for justice. There's never a wrong time.
And I appreciate that statement because it's very valid, even touching the immigrant issue. I recently attended a wedding of an asylum couple. They're on parole from ICE and they're from South America. And at the wedding, I was speaking with some of the social justice lawyers, and they were telling me that this wedding was a specifically big win for the LGBTQ community because in ICE, LGBTQ persons are treated worse than heterosexual persons, and people are so desperate to be paroled from ICE that they are treated as indentured servants, they are sex trafficked, and all sorts of horrible crimes are committed against their humanity just because they wanted to come here. So a human issue, it's not just an LGBTQ issue, it's not just a race issue, a religion issue, it's an issue of we have to find some common ground as a society for the future of our species to agree to disagree, but agree to respect your rights to dignity as a human being, regardless of how you choose to live. Have you ever experienced a moment where you have had homophobia, where you've been the target or victim of homophobia, or a moment where someone was just completely callous and insensitive?
I'm confident that I have. So in a past life, back in the late 80s through like the early 2000s, I used to do stand-up comedy. So any of those pains that I experienced, I just channeled into humor. And that's just been, I guess my experience in life. So like, I can tell you about the last week that I lived in San Francisco. I was walking across the Golden Gate Bridge because I'd never done that. I was so excited to walk across the Golden Gate Bridge. And I was holding the hand of this beautiful feminine lesbian. And as we were like about a third of the way across the bridge, this guy like screamed out of his pickup truck, "Lesbians!" And so first of all, lesbian isn't a pejorative word. So I didn't know what he was trying to achieve. And I think my immediate impulse was to think, good on ya. Because I feel confident that if the woman that I was with had been walking across the bridge by herself, that nothing would have been said. But because she was walking across the bridge with me, all of a sudden we were lesbian. So I felt like I am like so extra awesome because I am lesbian enough for two. By herself, they wouldn't have pegged her as a lesbian, but with me, they did. Really good about that in the moment. So a moment that he was trying to use to disempower me, like I just took it as like, hey, I didn't realize that we just had a pride march. But I do remember, like, and this was more of a gender related issue. And again, this happened in San Francisco. Like I don't want to try to think of anything that may have happened in the South, but like I honestly, nothing is immediately coming to mind. But I remember I was going to just like a regular bar in San Francisco, wasn't a gay bar or anything, and I was wearing just some sort of basic outfit. I was wearing probably like blue jeans and like a polo and a little Gap red jacket. And I went to go to the bathroom, and as I was trying to walk into the bathroom, as I was walking out of the bathroom, this woman was walking in toward the bathroom, and she looked at the name on the door to make sure it said women, and then she looked at me, looked back at the name on the door, and she said, "Oh, just checking." And I remember in that moment feeling so like I had nothing that I could possibly say to her in that moment. I like the wind was absolutely taken out of my sails.
So everybody, thank you so much for joining us for another ApplePie Table Talk. We'll look forward to seeing you again. Thank you, Mindy, for being our guest. It was great getting to know you and spend some time together. We'll look forward to seeing you again.
Thank you, Melody. Had a great time.